going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with your boy Phrankleen. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for stopping by. This is your first time, don't forget to hit the like button. If you like what I'm about, as I always say, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, okay? If you can hear me, you can see me, please hit the like button, okay? If you can see me, what's going on in Bali? What's going on, everybody? Right? What's up, people? Great stuff, great stuff. Plenty of people online. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. So this one, first of all, let me just say quickly, let's get this out of the way. Somebody say, can't see you. Can you see me? What do you mean you can't see me? Can you see me? Let me just know if you can see me. Can you see me? Can you hear me? So somebody's saying can't see you. I don't know. All right, great. So I can see somebody's talking about my haircuts. So nice, nice. All right, Mbali. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. Thank you. Manny, Snuggles, Ansu. Thank you, brother. Right. So as I basically, first of all, thank you very much to everyone who wished me happy birthday yesterday. Thank you for making my day. It means so much to me. Thank you for being part of my day. Quite memorable. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chats and all the kind words and all the supports. Actually, yesterday, looking back at the session that I had with you guys, people talking about their businesses and all that stuff. It's a good idea. And I promise to bring that ever so often where we can get to know ourselves a lot more. You know, what you do for a living, what businesses you run, what products and services, you know, as Black, small, medium, and mega business owners. And that way, you know, we can all get to know ourselves. You can get to interact with people and, you know, get that money flowing amongst ourselves. That's part of adding value, right? So it's one thing to be talking about it all the time. It's another thing to have a bit of an action plan that enables us to interact with and amongst ourselves, if that makes sense. So these particular topic, right, is heavy on my mind, okay? And for the purposes of those of you that might be watching and perhaps wondering who is Mr. Macaroni and who is this person, maybe you don't have an idea. So I'll give you a quick background. So for those that are Nigerians, most Nigerians probably know him most. Mr. Macaroni is basically a popular comedian based in Nigeria. He does a lot of Instagram skits, which he also uploads on YouTube. If you type in Mr. Macaroni, his character is basically that he sort of depicts is like a sort of like a wealthy man, affluential man who is also a womanizer, and he tries to use his monetary accumulation to woo and win the hearts of women. Most of the time, you know, it ends up wrongly and stuff. That's basically his type of skits. And he has very hardworking gentleman. He has provided us with tons and tons of laughter and stuff. I personally enjoy watching him. He also uploads his skits on YouTube, right? So Mr. Macaroni is basically, you know, that name that we know him as. So, but his real name is Debo Adebayo. So, right, let me rewind very quickly. So last year, for those of you that might know, there were the EndSARS protests in Nigeria, which actually was quite electrifying, and it went global because I actually joined the protest here in the UK as well. What was the premise of EndSARS protest last year? It was basically against police brutality against innocent citizens, and people have had enough. And the truth is, which is quite unfortunate, so many innocent people in the process had unfortunately lost their lives due to ill treatment by government officials, particularly the police and the special, police squads and stuff like that. So the protest ran across the nation, and then they used a particular point, which was the Lekki Tollgate in Lagos State. I'm trying to clarify this for those of you that are probably not Nigerians. So it went viral on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Mainstream, some mainstream media picked it up as well, CNN and the lot. Now, it went on for several days. It brought us together as youths, as Nigerians who desperately want progress for that, for that nation. Now, and then abruptly, at some point, thank you, you Duak. Thank you for the super chat. So at some point, the government, of course, were in the background watching and all that stuff, and of course, they weren't happy about the driving force behind that. The beautiful thing about that EndSARS movement was the fact that they couldn't pin the movement on a particular or set of individuals. It was just the energy that emanated from everybody that believed in the movement. So it connected us even beyond the shores of Nigeria. So even those on ground, they couldn't say it was a particular set of people that were behind it, because what they would normally do is they would snatch them up faster than the speed of light, and they would find a way to punish them and shut them down, bang them up unfairly, usual stuff. So anyway, they had enough. And then the 20th of October at the Lekki Tollgate, the Tollgate, again, if you're a non-Nigerian, is basically a part of Lagos, a toll gate area where cars would go through, and they would pay X amount of money to go through, such sort of like a tax to go through that part of the major road in Lagos State in Nigeria. So it's a popular spot whereby thousands and thousands of cars would drive through on a daily basis. Now, what happened was the soldiers, they deactivated CCTV cameras, they turned the lights off, and the long and short was innocent Nigerians, harmless protesters, were shot at by the military department of, the government department, the military men, and people lost their lives. Even with the evidences, there was a lady called as a DJ, forgotten the name now, who was a DJ who was at the scene. She live streamed it on Instagram. It went viral. Even the likes of CNN used her footage and all that stuff. The government, the state government, the governor, and even up until the federal level were in denial. The military were in denial. They tried to discredit people, even when the evidences were looking at them in the face. The world can see it in black and white. But eventually, DJ switch. Thank you. So eventually, they kind of caved in. So anyway, they set up a judicial panel that was meant to be for investigation. For those of you that are familiar with the way things are run in Nigeria, corruption is the order of the day. So they've been dragging their feet. The premise of the judicial panel is to get to the bottom of things, carry out a fair and honest investigation, and particularly uphold judgment, okay, for the families of those that have lost their loved ones and stuff like that. But the whole thing got infiltrated, by the people in power and stuff. They've been dragging their feet. Now, the investigation, the whole process has basically been corrupted, right? Because the truth is, those in power that violated harmless protesters really do not want to be held accountable, and they're not prepared to provide remedies or to put their hands up to say they are wrong and things like that. Because if you're really going to provide remedy, people heads will roll. There will be persons that will have to face criminal charges, and people, public servants and things like that, that will go to prison. But of course, rather than try to find remedy, even have empathy for those the family of those whose lives have been unfairly cut short. All they've been doing is been trying to defend the indefensible and trying to silence people. Now, I've got a couple of things here. So let's fast forward to now. A movement started, which some of you might know. It's on Twitter. It's called, the hashtag is online. It's on Twitter and all the rest. Occupy Lekki Tollgate, right? Now, the reason that that started, I'm going to read it to you in a moment. The judicial panel, just give me a second. I've got something on here that I opened earlier. Right. So basically, the hashtag Occupy Lekki Tollgate, people are insisting that the families of those who lost their lives on the 20th of October 2020 during the EndSARS protest, like I explained, be served justice before commercial activities can resume at the Lekki Tollgate, right? Now, that's all they're asking for. And because people can see, people are not stupid, people can see that the government are basically pretty much dragging their feet. They're going to end up covering up and sweeping everything under the carpet. So they decided, Mr. Macaroni, right, yesterday, and courageous, I call them our comrades, brothers and sisters. Now, every Nigerian have a right to peaceful protest. You have a right. You've got the right to protest peacefully. You have the right to do so, right? It's drafted, it's embedded, it's enshrined into the Constitution. You have the right. But of course, those in power don't want these people to use their voices. So, coffee. They pushed out huge numbers of policemen, and quite threatening, quite intimidating. It's all intimidation, tactics to silence people, to shut them down, and to make sure that they don't get to speak up, they don't get heard, and stuff like that. There are video clips online, but yeah, I like what Frank Gauze said. They want to stifle, they want to stifle their voices. Absolutely, Frank. Thank you. They want to stifle their voices. I saw the video clips online. There was massive presence. Now, what's even laughable is there's ongoing issue of Fulani herdsmen in Nigeria that are basically trespassing into people's lands and killing people unlawfully. There's a plethora of cases of kidnap, maimings, and all that stuff. I haven't seen these bunch of police officers and in their gun with their guns and all the bulletproofs and all the ammunition and stuff. They didn't bother to come out to protect the citizens, right? They didn't bother. This has been going on for time. And then they caught wind of peaceful protesters that were going to the Lekki Tollgate. And what happened? They came out in their huge numbers to stifle the voices of innocent and harmless protesters. Now, I'm trying to pull up something here. They kidnapped these people yesterday. I want to share my screen with you now so we can watch a video clip that I carry on talking. I want people to dial in. I'll provide you with links if you want to join the conversation, because I'm a Nigerian, and if you're a Nigerian particularly, I think we should use our voices. We should use our voices, and we should speak up against this ill treatment, because you never know. You might be traveling tomorrow. You might be walking on the streets of Nigeria someday. You wouldn't see it coming. It might be a member of your family. It might be someone that you know. It might be your friend. You never know. Let me share my screen. Just give me one quick second. It's just absolutely share. Let me see audio. Right, Chrome tab. Right, 1 second. So this guy. That's Mr Macaroni, man. They are packed like sardines. You see them? We are afraid of that. We are afraid of that. We are afraid of that. Are you a musician? Hey, you will catch. This man, don't get out of this macaroni. Don't join them there. What put you into this mess now? Which mess? They don't know what they are doing now. Go on, go back. Go on, go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. What about Sidaya? And there you go. Now, you see the way it's absolutely heartbreaking. They were tied up, you know, like when they force your arms like right to the middle of your back. Some of those guys were tied up and treated like dehumanized and treated like criminals. They were made topless, and look at them sweating profusely because it was very hot. They were packed like sardines at very close proximity. Now, when I saw that video clip yesterday, my heart was shattered. And apart from that, this is why when you see certain people that think outside the box, and then you talk about the pandemic more than likely being a sham, this is a classic example, right? Why people would think that way. The same government that's telling or asking people to adopt social distancing, right, in the name of an ongoing pandemic, right? Adopt social distancing, blah, 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 because of the pandemic is killing, XYZ people. So you grab these people that have done nothing wrong, but came out, harmless protesters. You strip them of their clothing, you pack them like tuna, like sardines, at very close and tight proximity in that van. So, for the purposes of this video, let's assume someone is dealing with COVID, right? So, basically, what you're effectively saying is you want them dead. Now, that's the same government that's saying people should practice social distancing. So, you just all you need is just a shred of common sense to look at, this is a bloody joke. Like people said, yeah, they don't care. Of course they don't. It's a blatant, breach of their fundamental human right. Now I'm going to show you one more thing where Mr. Macaroni was taken to court. Let me share my screen with the other people. Let me share my screen. The backwardness is absolutely staggering, man. It's absolutely nuts. Just give me a second. See, Mr. So, right. Here's my screen. That's Mr. Macaroni there. So he was charged to court with 39 other people, right, on 3-count charge. So, okay, I'm going to show you in a second now. They went before a magistrate. It's all bogus. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see properly there. Now, I'm going to read something out to you. Count 1, that you, the above named defendants, on the 13th of February, 2021, at Lekki Toll Plaza, and the Yaba magistrates did conspire among yourselves to commit a misdemeanor to punishable under section 412 of the criminal law of Lagos State, 2015. Count 2, that you above named defendants on the 13th of February at Lekki Toll Plaza and the Yaba magistrate, being a public place, gathered yourself to harass and causing unnecessary alarm and panic in a manner likely to cause a breach of peace, and thereby committed an offense contrary to section 1681E, blah, 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 punishable under the criminal law of Lagos. Now, count number 3, they said that you above named defendants, watch this, did fail to comply with the restriction and prohibition quarantine law, which prohibits social gathering to avoid spreading and contracting of the pandemic disease, and thereby committed an offense punishable under section 5 of the Quarantine Act Q2 Law of Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004 as domesticated under public health law laws of Lagos State. Sorry, what? This has got to be a joke. So, thank you for the super chat, man. But you can pack them, like sardines. Somebody's saying they're having audio issues. Can you hear me though? If you can hear me, let me know. You're saying that they've congregated, which is against the law, but you can pack them like tuna, like sardines, at close proximity. Now, the brother made a video today. Unfortunately, I forgot to even provide the link to that. He's been released today, and he was talking about how he was severely bitten. He was battered. You can see his eyes were red, violated, and bitten to pulp. And they were saying he would learn lesson. They called him all sorts of names in the book. Man. Basically, just a few days ago, the same government banned people from trading using their Nigerian bank accounts to trade cryptocurrency, because they came up with some frivolous reasons, which to me, it's a way, because they know that the whole concept of cryptocurrency is decentralized. And the premise of it is it will enrich the citizens. It will give them wealth. In fact, generational wealth. That's why I said yesterday that I'm going to bring, Lionel and anyone who's got cryptocurrency expertise to the platform to come and educate people, to come and, give them knowledge, because they know that trading cryptocurrency, if you have the knowledge, will give you financial freedom. If you know what you're doing, if you make the strategic moves, if you move your funds properly, you do it properly, it can elevate you from there to there within a short space of time, and it will create particularly generational wealth that will not only set you free, but set your children and their unborn children free. The government doesn't want that. They came abruptly out of the blues to shut down the idea of Nigerians buying cryptocurrency. Basically, the government are trying to inflict fear into the public so that nobody will show up for future protests. Is just reverse psychology. Of course, mineral beauty. That absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Fear is the number one weapon. It's a major weapon to condition people's minds. And it was somebody said there is unrest in Isaleko, Idumot, and Balogun that needs police presence. Of course, Lara, you're absolutely right. There is unrest in other parts of the same Lagos, but they're not bothered though. They're not interested in that. They're not. They're not. They don't want financial freedom, because this is why I keep saying, when I talk in my videos about when people travel abroad, some people get blinded by emotions. They don't listen, constructively and try to listen, objectively to what I'm saying. They quickly get defensive and they think because Phrankleen lives abroad, you should understand that I came here donkey years ago. I've lived here up until this point. Where my knowledge base is at this point was totally different from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, from 15 years ago, right? How my understanding of the Western life today is totally different from what it was some 10, 12 or more years ago, right? This is why I talk about the Western brain drain. It's like it's absolutely necessary for Africa to be on its knees for the thriving of the Western part of the world. Because this is what I was saying to someone. It's a strategic, it's not even strategic, I don't want to give you that word. It's intentional. It's a well-orchestrated move for the government to destabilize multi-millions of people. And Nigeria is the only nation that I've seen in the world, that especially the leaders, that have come up with this ridiculous and baseless excuse. Bitcoin is devaluing Naira. What? What has the existence of Bitcoin got to do with Nigerian Naira? Where is the connection? How is Bitcoin affecting or contributing to the devaluation of your Naira? The devaluation of your Naira is actually your own doing, because you destabilized everything. You failed to build infrastructures. You failed to contribute positively to the necessary parts and processes and systems of the country. So what's Bitcoin got to do? I saw this guy in the House of Senate or something saying Bitcoin as basically, and do you know what's even funny? The funniest part of all of this, the same people that are preventing their citizens from using their Nigerian-based bank account to invest in cryptocurrency, I can bet my bottom dollar, I can bet that they would have concealed cryptocurrency wallets, Bitcoin wallets, with heavy amount of money invested in those cryptocurrencies. Believe me. Because what they do is they keep that money amongst themselves. Those people, they are heavily invested. Of course, thank you, Vinny. Bitcoin didn't even make a dent on the value of pounds. I mean, I was shocked watching it. It's one of the most idiotic things I've heard in a long time. What has Bitcoin got to do with years of catastrophic governmental failings in Nigeria? Now you wake up in 2021 in February and then you're blaming Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies. All of these people, I can assure you, they have multi-million of dollars heavily. Most of them are market movers, heavily invested in cryptocurrencies. A lot of them, and their children, and their children's children, and their clique, their mafia. But the average Joe blogs down the road, they want to make sure that they keep you down at the ground level. They keep you seriously destabilized, because once you have financial freedom, once you have financial freedom, it erodes a bulk of your problem. One second, man. I want people to come and please let's talk, man. Click on the link. 2-3 minutes. Come and join the conversation, man. Let's talk. So I'm glad now. Mr. Macaroni said something. The brother that I'm talking about. He made a very chilling comment in the video that he made this morning. He said he knows that had it not been that video of his arrest went viral, and and the other 39 people went viral, and people knew, people heard, and people have been shouting, and a lot of people in the background, including his family and maybe their families, and everyone is running from pillar to post, getting lawyers and people getting on the phone. They wouldn't have been released. He said some of the authorities that actually arrested them, they actually said, thank your stars, because if you were arrested at night time, you'd have been dead by now. Can you imagine? These are the law enforcement people that are meant to serve and protect the average Nigerians. Please click on the link. Come and talk to me. 2-3 minutes. Let's talk, man. You don't have to show your face. Yeah, basically, they are saying, this is what I'm saying. It's like they have a license to kill. Now, I was talking to someone, and then a woman mentioned something last night that broke my heart, because this is why you see some Nigerians would say, oh, it's not worth fighting for. And then if you don't listen to the sort of the context in which they are saying that, they are afraid because the lawlessness is unbelievably heightened, that people say coming out to fight is not the problem. It's the fact that they can cut you short, they can obliterate you, and basically they beat their chest that there is no accountability, nothing's going to happen, we will get away with obliterating you, and then what? So the idea of I can take you out, I can do whatever the hell I want, I could see fear in Mr. Macaroni's eyes. I was watching his video. I saw the brother. I could see. You could almost taste the fear in his voice, in his eyes. Like, we can disappear you, we can obliterate you with no consequence. It's staggering. Yes, somebody's online. What's going on, bro?
Good, man. How you doing?
All right, thanks. So what do you think about what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm a student in Canada, an international student in Canada. I really appreciate what you're doing. I just want to say this is a signal that every government is against its citizens, whether we like it or not. And here in Canada, it's worse, because for international students, there's so many restrictions, there's so many things you can do, and the system here, it's not here to favor the international students. Now, back to the topic of what happened in Nigeria. Honestly, I have to say, Nigerians, we have to wake up. Africa, we have to wake up. There's so many things going on right now that shows that in the next couple of years, if we don't take the bull by the horn, or if we don't pull our socks up, trust me, 200, 300 years to come, we are going to remain in this same position. So we need to take the bull by the horn. And honestly, we need to stop, seeking intervention from the Western countries. That is all I have to say. I am here right now in Canada, and I know what is obtainable. These countries are not here to favor you. These countries are not here to support you. I read something about Joe Biden. He made like a sanction against there's a country currently on a coup right now, Myanmar or so.
Right.
He sanction them, right? And in my mind, I know this is not for the good of the country. This is for the
Yes.
good of the United States. So,
Yes.
a lot of people will have this mentality that let us go to the Western countries for intervention, United Nations, WHO, whatever. It is not the case. It is high time we wake up as a continent, as a group of people, and understand that what is happening right now is intentional. I'm telling
Can
you,
I ask you, bro? Sorry to cut you. I like what you said earlier. And I know
yeah,
because you're trying to focus on the topic at hand, but can you do me a favor just for the benefit of people watching? Because I like the direction you were taking that. Can you share very briefly your
yeah,
observation as an international student in Canada? Because I know that somebody's watching this, they would
yeah,
learn at least one thing from you. That thing that you were about to say it, bro.
yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So first things first,
Yeah.
let's talk about the fees, the fees for international students. It's so ridiculous. And recently we were paying about $500 for a class.
Hmm.
And right now it has skyrocketed to about $1,300 per class for international students. And the
Hmm.
domestic students, their fees were reduced
Yeah,
from about
because you're
500.
because what they're telling you right there is you are being monetized. They
Oh
use you
yeah.
to line their pockets.
Oh yeah. Then secondly,
Yeah.
the way the system is structured, for example, for the first 2 3 years of your life here, you're pretty unstable because you don't even know what is obtainable in the system. For example, you can't drive unless you have to wait for like a year or 2 years to get the driver's license here in Canada. Then, secondly, we want to talk about systemic racism. People say there's no racism in Canada. That is absolutely not true. I'll give you something that happened to me while I was at work. I work at Bed Bath and Beyond as a customer service representative, and I got a call from a guy. I picked the phone. I was like, "Hello, who's this? This is Deji speaking, Bed Bath and Beyond. What do you need?" And the guy said he needed an item. I was like, "Please, can you come again?" He was like, no, he's not going to come again. That I should give the phone to someone that understands English.
Wow.
I'm telling you, brother. He said he's not
The
going to go back
audacity.
and forth. Yeah, he said he's not going to go back and forth with me. I have to give the phone to someone that understands. And I just dropped the call. My manager called me and said what happened. I explained to her that this is what this customer was extremely rude. So the
Yeah.
customer called back, and we went back and forth about the whole issue. So that is a subtle, you know, aggression, way of
Yeah. Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
okay, we don't want you in this country. So frankly, I'm telling you, there's so many examples, of what is happening here right now that it is not favorable for international students at all. Even to
Bro.
get a job, yeah,
Yeah. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on.
to get a job here, now there's a wide perception that Canadians don't work. Do you understand? Because they receive huge amount of money from the government. We the natives, Canada is most of the native people. A lot of them receive as much as $100,000 every year from the government. So they
Hmm.
don't work. So as an international student, you it's like you're naked. You understand what I'm saying? You're naked, like there's nobody to support you. You're just here on your own, struggling without, there's no end to it. You
Let
keep
me
going. You
let
keep,
me let me let me say something for the record, right? Because I
yeah,
can see some people, some couple of persons. Don't worry about it. Welcome to YouTube. I see a couple of persons trying to go against what you're saying. So I'm going to say this actually in your favor. Yeah. Now,
yeah,
because it's very common. We have a lot of house Negroes in the black community. You understand me? So what do I mean
yeah.
by
I
house
understand.
Negro? So you see, like somebody like me,
Yeah,
I'm wired as a warrior. Okay, I stand up to injustice. It's who I am. Now, so, and you also learn something from this. So,
oh yeah,
in going forward, you would always find that's why they always say not every skin folks our kin folks. So whilst you are experiencing maybe everyday microaggression or discrimination and stuff, in fact, it will be your own kind that look like you that will be at the forefront of trying to discredit you about your experiences. They will call you
Oh yeah.
every name in the book. Those are the ones that eat breadcrumbs at the feet of the
Oh
slave
yeah.
masters. So,
Oh yeah.
and the moment they enjoy a tiny bit of comfortability. In fact, make matters worse, the moment they manage to have a mortgage, they have a nice little Mercedes Benz, they have a little bit of
Yeah.
Canadian dollars in their bank account. That's it. They
Yeah.
can't. They can't see. They can't. Basically, they will be the ones. Forget the white folks for a moment. It will be your own
Yeah.
kind saying, "Oh, you're not making sense. You're talking nonsense. Oh,
Yeah.
Canada is heaven." So there are no surprises. Let me just say for the records, of course,
Yeah.
it's understandable that certain measures will be in place because you're an international student in terms of benefits, right? Or
Yeah.
fully integrating into the Canadian system because
Yeah.
you're an international student until you become, maybe you have your permanent residency or you become a Canadian, citizen and stuff like that. We get that. But having
Yeah.
said that, what we are ultimately saying is these systems, they are heavily being the objective word, reliant on African brain drain. Look at you now,
Yeah.
man. Look at you. Look at you right now. I'm looking at you, man. I've never met you in my life, but I believe deep in my heart you're a smart gentleman in your own regard. Now,
Oh yeah.
if I can say now, if things were exactly palatable back home, I'm sure you would prefer to stay back home because you know why?
Definitely.
As blacks, when we come to the West, whether we like it or not,
Mm-hmm.
the system forces you to align and adopt all these daily microaggression, all these
Yeah.
ill treatment. Like what you said, there's a difference between you go, hello, is that blah 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 blah? Yeah, welcome. How can I help you today? A customer might be rude, and most companies will say we have zero tolerance for verbal abuse and blah 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 blah, and you have the right to terminate the call and stuff like that. But when you
Absolutely.
exist in an environment whereby as soon as you walk through the door, the first thing they see, that's a Negro coming through the door. And for those reasons, all the benefits or your ability to be able to navigate through the system will block you, will cut you short. Because why?
Oh
You're
yeah.
simply a black man. Now, it's irrelevant if you are well educated, you got 2 master's degree, you're blah, 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 because you're a black man. Their system, you see, all these things you're saying, the fees you're paying, blah, 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 it contributes
Yeah.
unbelievably to their GDP. This is how they
Absolutely.
remain fat. It's the same thing here in the UK. They milk the international students. Even ask anybody, your journey
Yeah.
here in the UK to become a permanent resident, you will sweat. You will sweat.
Mm.
Because as I'm telling you right now, for most people, this is not years ago. If you manage to get anything that gives you a permanent residence now, they give you 2.5 years, right? Based on the
Yeah.
current immigration rules. And you have to renew that 4 times. Basically, means before we can allow you to become a permanent resident in the UK, you have a 10-year journey. That's where
Yeah.
you're going.
Uh,
But so basically, in the 10 years, God forbid, one day you go clubbing with your missus or your girl, somebody pisses you off in a nightclub, and then you push and shove and hey, yo, get your hand off my girl, and something goes a little bit funny. The police come
you're
and
going
say,
back.
oh, we think you are being aggressive and intimidating. They put that on your record. If the immigration department catch a wind of that, bro, they can destabilize all your journey, everything you've contributed, and they show you the door. Use it, get out of the country, done, dusted. And
Yeah.
then that's it. So what I'm saying
Yeah.
is they show us time and time and time again. This is why I don't know how long you've been watching me for. I've previously said this.
For a long
This
time
system,
before I left.
thank you. This system is not designed for us. They
Yeah.
do not care about black lives. They don't.
I want
That's why I said
I want to say
those
something.
black people that sorry, 1 second. They confuse their personal accumulation of wealth. It's good for you if you've
Yeah,
managed to make something of yourself in Canada or in the UK or in the US. Great. But you cannot lay claim to those countries. I'm a British citizen.
no,
Fine.
yeah,
Let's call it spade a spade. I'm a British citizen. I have a British passport. Can I lay a claim to Britain? Let's call it spade a spade. Where is my bloodline from? I'm a Yoruba man. I'm from Oduduwa land. Where is my grandfather, my father's father, my motherland? Where are they from? I can have all the British accent in the world. I can go to the best unis in the UK if I like. I can have 20 properties in the UK. The simple question is, where did my bloodline emanate from? If you like, you can say you've come to the UK in the 1960s. Before you came here in the 1960s, where did your bloodline emanate from? And they use every and anything to let you know. That's through the display of racism. Hey, you're not from here. You're not one of us. If black people can
absolutely.
get that, you get all those black people that come into the comment section and start saying, this guy is talking rubbish.
Yeah,
Canada give us.
yeah, it's
Look,
absolute utter
trying
nonsense.
not to do black people, man.
People need to understand what is called neo-colonialism.
Of
You
course.
understand? Yeah, it's a new form of, slavery. You can't come and hold your hands anymore because, that's kind of archaic. You understand what I'm saying? So, when they tell you file for federal immigration, the Canada has this immigration program, they are all ways of, neo-colonial mentality. When they tell you Canada needs immigrants, we're going to give you 5 years of work permit. They are all forms of neo-colonial, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
mentality,
control
is it
mechanism. It's control.
exactly, is a new form of slavery. So we need to
My
wake
man,
up. If
I align with your smartness. But you know what? You'll be surprised. The average black person, the master gives me papers. The
Oh yeah,
master gave me 5 years. I love my 5 years. No, 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 no. There's nothing to see wrong here. I take Canada. I want to tell you, come on social media. I mean, we get it that Nigeria has its problems. I'm not here in denial. But you come,
oh
oh,
yeah,
I am, oh, thank you, Canada. Oh, look at the snow. I am never going back to Africa. Are you mad? Are you
yeah.
barking mad? You
I see
think these
people
white
like that
folks
here.
care about you?
Yeah, I see them a lot here. A lot of Nigerians, and I just look at them. I'm like,
Me
you
and
guys don't know
my
what happened.
husband, we relocate to Canada. Within 3 years, we bought our first property. So what?
Yeah, yeah. I
You,
see them everywhere here. I just, I don't really care. So,
my man,
so I
sorry
want,
to put
yeah,
you. Let me bring the next person on, right? But you can stay in the
yeah.
background. I can still bring you back on if you want. All right?
Okay, sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know other people are waiting. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. My brother, Citizen G.
Hello, hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Ah, I can hear you though.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No?
Oh, I can hear you now. I'm kind of
All
delayed.
right.
Yes, I can hear you like on a playback. Yes, I can hear you
Right.
on a playback.
Right. Okay. So what were you going to say about what's going on, bro? Look, reconnect, bro. Reconnect. Because it's delayed. You can't hear me properly. Reconnect. Okay. Follow the link and reconnect. Okay. And then come back in. Let me get the next person. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Franklin. It's Jerry. And, you know, the Nigeria problem, I think I agree with what everyone has said. The reason why
Yes, sir.
we are the reason why we are like this is because, first of all, we've got to look at the root of the problem. Africa, for example, in order for we to get out of this dystopia and economic malevolence, we need to,
Mm,
in fact, cleanse everything in Africa from hand to start.
mm.
the the reason why Nigeria is the way it is, it wasn't by mistake. It was designed.
Yes,
You know,
yes, 100%. I agree.
there is a reason why Nigeria has oil, but we send our oil to UK refineries and United States refinery, and we pay them a fortune to sell that same oil in the form of petrol. There is a reason, and the reason is because Nigeria was never designed to become an independent country. It was designed to become a money-making machine for the
Mm.
colonial rulers. And people who don't know that would accept it. The Constitution does not allow anything to be done. The Constitution does not allow Nigerians to progress. Now,
Mm.
part of it now, it's easy for us to blame outsiders. Part of it is because when you look at the way some of us think in Nigeria, like you just
Mm.
alluded to, when we have food on the table, especially the black race, when we have food on the table, we dismiss everything that's wrong. We don't want to take
Thank
blame.
you.
We say,
Thank you.
you know, we start saying, oh, I can afford this, blah, 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 blah. We don't want to take control of, we don't like responsibility. You see what's going to happen. 2023 come, I tell you, if a Nigerian has a chance of becoming the president, they'll rather vote someone else to take that responsibility, because they never want to
Yeah.
take responsibility of their own actions. Oh, I voted, they should have done the job. No, they shouldn't have done the job. You should have gone there, gone out and do the things that is right. Anyway, that is beside the overall problem. When you
Mm.
look at it, lack of education. When I mean lack of education, a lot of our people come to the UK. I'm going to say this, we mistake the symbols of civilization for freedom. Your phone is a symbol of civilization. Your phone, your clothes, what you wear, it tells you, it's like an history of itself. Your iPhone
Mm.
tells you, oh, we're in 2021, we've come afar from
Mm.
just making phone calls through landline. We can make cellular calls. It's a
Mm.
symbol of civilization. It is not a symbol of freedom.
Mm.
But a lot of people do not have the mental ability to discern situations. When you
Mm.
when you tell them, they say, oh, you're just being negative. It's not being negative. You're saying the truth
Facts.
here.
Facts
How
on
many
facts.
how many of our people here, okay, let's go back a bit now. In the Nigerian state, what happens is you're being brainwashed with church. They tell you church is heaven and hell. If you they tell you why you should come and pray to God, your money, they take away your money, they take everything away from you.
Yeah.
And and at the end of the day, when you make a noise, they tell you, oh, it's our pastor. You're not supposed to talk bad about it. All these are just a psychological manufacturing of what was designed for the average African. It was done that way so that your oil will be taken away from you. Congo, the iPhone you use, your phone you use, there is a material, I've forgotten the name, that Congo produces. Without that, there is no phone. But look at how the
Yes.
Congo is right now. Without
Deep,
that
neck
material,
deep in poverty, abject
the,
poverty.
the reason, now I'm going to come to that poverty you just mentioned. The reason why there is poverty, I work in the UK, I work in
Yeah,
UK,
yeah.
I
What
work,
you were trying to say earlier, what you were trying to say about what they used to make phones. Somebody just told me, it's Femi Williams. It's called Cobalt.
yes, yes. Now,
Go on.
if you, as we speak right now, do you know who is mining that natural resources? Are children that are mining that. It's all
Hmm.
over the internet. You can go check it if I'm like, children are in Congo mining that just
Hmm.
to make sure that Western civilizations become richer. Now, when you
Yeah.
say let's solve, this is a psychology. I'm trying to give it a 360 view. When you then say, why is things going on like this? when you look at the root cause, the people who are in Congo, who are in power, are the same people that are in Nigeria. It's an enemy with no face. You think that they are Congolese, you think they are Nigerians, you think they're South Africans in power. They're not in power. Those are just poster boys for the real people who are in power. Any wonder why a Nigerian minister would come on television and tell you, Rotimi Amechi, for example, my children are in Canada. Can you imagine the insult?
Yeah.
His children are in Canada. What does that tell you? They are actively telling you that Nigeria is never going to, Africa is never going to change. You have to go to Canada to get an awakening. And when you go to Canada, when you go to the UK to get an awakening, they know you come in here. This school I went to was the University of Cumbria. That was the university I went to.
Right.
I was so lucky because the people that my lecturers, they were very understanding, because I was a young child at the time when I went. That was ages ago now. When I got there,
Yeah.
you do business, you go and study business. You say, oh, I'm going to the UK to study business. They teach you generic stuff, nothing of importance that would tell you what business is. It's not even if you say, oh, I want to be a businessman in the healthcare industry, there is nothing that tells you directly what it does. It's just generic.
Yeah.
Now, because I was able to discern, I was inquisitive from the beginning. When my lecturer says, oh, do a 5,000 word essay or something on strategy on so companies, I never did those companies they told me to do. I chose another company. Now, when they asked me why, I said, I'm going to do your assignment for you, but I'm simply not going to follow the company you told me to, because I want something that's going to benefit me when I get out of university. I'm going to get a job. A lot of lecturers weren't happy. Now, this is going on in a lot of universities. As an international student, you go to there, you say you want to study medicine, fine, you're going to study medicine, but what they tell you study is what you study. You don't have a say on how you want to do it. But I was able to say, I get that you're teaching me business and all that, but I want to tailor it to Africa. I want to tailor it to the African continent. If I'm talking about universal basic income, I want my subject to be Africa. But a lot of universities, the lecturers, they won't let you do that.
Anything Africa, they have to cripple it.
Exactly. I told them, I said, if you're not gonna, so it went to the head of the university. The man was like, you should be happy. You've got somebody here who does what they tell him to do. He has his own will. Let him do it. That was the only way I was able to get through university, because they wanted to make sure that no matter how this guy is intelligent, if he doesn't do what we tell him to do, he's never going to graduate.
Wow.
And it's going on. So when you talk about poverty, you say, oh, why Africa is like that? Okay, then why aren't African leaders, they know what is wrong, why aren't they doing any changes? Because they know they're puppet. And then you wonder, poverty makes money. The reason why poverty makes money, think about it. US, you know the amount of aid. Nigeria should not receive aid because Nigeria has a lot of money. The UK tell you they're giving aid to Nigeria. They're not giving aid. They're paying their people, they're paying their companies to provide quote unquote aid. What they mean is they're just going to go on with the ongoing, making sure that Africa is becoming poorer and poorer and poorer, because poverty makes money. If people are rich, if every country is better, they're not making money. It's like war in the USA. When you go to war, helicopters break down, helicopter manufacturers, they produce more helicopter. You need more uniform. The people who produce army uniform, they make more money. The people who produce petrol for the aircrafts, they make more money. The same thing with poverty. Without poverty, NGOs do not make money. Without poverty, charities will not tell you to donate. And when they don't tell you to donate, they're not making money. Everything is around money. It's a money-making mechanism. Nigerian government, the South African government, they're not going to do anything meaningful because they want to psychologically deprive the average African from some basic necessity, to the point that the average African see you being successful as a bad thing.
Hmm.
You go to school, there is no job. The reason why
So
there
let me
is no
ask you.
job,
Let me ask
okay,
you, so that I can bring the next person on. What's the way forward for us?
the way
What do you?
forward,
Yeah.
the way forward, Nigerians, Africans, the young ones, we have to take it by fire by force. There is no diplomacy. People have to die for things to change. If not, it won't change. All these ones they're saying, oh, we have to do it with tactfulness. It is never going to work, because what happened in the Lekki Tollgate is clear already that they are going to kill. It does not matter. They will kill and kill and kill and kill for it to become that way. I mean, you know it in the UK. When you go to a company, people who are there because it benefits them, they don't want changes. No matter how good you are, because it benefits them, they would make sure that there will be no changes. It's the same thing
Yeah.
applied to a country. The people who are there because it is beneficial, they would make sure if it amounts to okay, look at what's going on with the Lekki toll gate. They pay young kids, right? They pay young kids money to become agberos to destabilize the protests. So they pay those kids to destroy their future.
It's a vicious
So they're going
cycle.
to exactly. They're going to make sure that you are there for as long as it takes. So in order for Nigeria to get out of it, everybody has to be up in arms and fight for it. It is never going to happen through tact or diplomacy. It will. This I wish I can break it down. And if I start talking about the psychological stuff here, I
It's fine.
studied
It's
psychology.
fine, Jerry. I would love for you to carry on, but I want other people to jump on too, if you don't mind. But you've made
That's
very powerful, very, very powerful points. Okay. Thank you.
we have to look back with the way we brought up the religion aspect. Religion, any wonder why Nigeria is the most religious country and this is one of the most dysfunctional society. So
Absolutely.
dysfunctional. The amount of dysfunction in Nigeria is next to none. So religion should be one thing that should be abolished, I'm afraid. You have to go back to being native, to your cultural richness, if I should put it that way. We have a lot of culture that is rich. Why
Thank
why
you, Jerry.
adopt, why adopt something
Thank you,
that's
my
not
brother.
rich? Anyway, yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Warish.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be brief. So I think a few things need to be thought about. African governments are trash, but I think the idea here is nationalism. The governments of Africa aren't based on nationalism. They don't identify with any specific idea to the exclusion or detriment of other nations. Our leaders will sell us to foreign nations in a heartbeat for themselves. That's that. I'm not Nigerian, but in my country, I know my president has no sense of nationalism whatsoever.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Kenya, all the way on the other side.
Right.
So I know our president, other Kenyans may dispute this, has no sense of nationalism. He will sell the whole nation to anybody for a price. The Chinese are taking over right now for that reason. If he had a sense of nationalism, the Chinese would not be in Kenya doing what they're doing, because the idea would be we have interests, beliefs that we are going to support at the exclusion of foreigners. That's not the case. That's not even the case with the Kenyan government. They'll sell us piece by piece to whoever has enough money. That's the main problem. The people. What are the values that the people hold? What do you believe in? What's going to be your legacy? For my country, people value money over everything else. They will sell their own family for money. They don't care. How do you build a nation with people who value money more than their own blood? How is that going to happen? Any other nation who sees that will take advantage of it. Right now, the way cell phones are made, they take materials from Kenya to Canada, make the materials there, ship them back to Kenya, and buy it back at a huge price So Canada makes the money, not Kenya. Mind you, Canada doesn't have the materials to make these cell phones. It's all in Kenya. But who made that deal? The Kenyan government, and they get a cut. So the people, they know this, they accept it. Why? Because people would rather be miserable than uncomfortable. People are willing to suffer rather than deal with the unknown. And I used to be very upset when I would see all the nonsense that would go on. And my cousin would say to me, why are you upset? These people have the leaders they deserve. They've elected them. They've accepted it. So why are you upset? And I get it. If you're willing to be miserable rather than uncomfortable, then that is what you will get. That's a legacy that you'll pass on to your children. And all you'll ever do is complain and change absolutely nothing. Power is taken. It's not given. Revolutionaries don't live to be old. They die for their cause. They set an example. They're a symbol. They understand that the government will not give up power. You have to die to obtain power and then fight to maintain it no matter what. If you're expecting somebody to fly in and save you, it's never going to happen. So long as we're expecting the West to feel sympathy for us, to come in and help us, that's insane. How many Africans are prepared to die to build their nation? How many are willing to set aside tribalism to build their nation? In my country, people will see everybody else die as long as it's not someone in their tribe, they're fine with it. But yet you're still going to be saying you're Kenyan.
It's exactly the same thing in Nigeria. Exactly the same thing. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
So of course America will take advantage of that. Why shouldn't they? Isn't that what power is about? You have to stay at the top. Everyone is always looking to knock you down. So why would somebody share power? Power is given. You have to take power. Nobody's going to give it to you. And if they give it to you, ask yourself, why are you being given this power? Why? Nobody's doing anything because they like you. It's all about self-interest. So if the people want change, the people have to be prepared to sacrifice, to die, and to understand the price that will be paid and to keep paying it. Change is slow and it's painful. But if all you want is money, go abroad and get money. But don't complain when you see your nation is a mess back home.
Well, you know what? You know what? I like what you said there, just emphasizing it. That's what the gentleman, one of the people that spoke earlier. And there is this thing that's deeply rooted in us blacks, and this is not even limited to, it's the same thing in Nigeria, right? And I've been saying this, and I see it, you know, some people they hijack my statements when they hear me say stuff and they take it out of context, they put a twist to it. The average black person, yeah?
Yes.
Let's just even talk about racism here in the UK. That's why we don't have togetherness, even here in the West. The average black person tastes a bit of comfortability. They can afford to live in a nice part of whatever city they're living in the West. They've got a bit of money saved in the bank account. They've got a nice job. They work in the city of London. They live in Kent. They're comfortable.
Yes.
They are the ones at the forefront of the black struggle. They are the ones that would deny to the death of them and say, oh, there's nothing to see. In fact, they'll be the ones to say to you that, oh, you're off your head, that you're not mentally stable, that, oh, in fact, the master gives us food, the master gives me sleeps, the master is the best. They are the one that would make sure that they destabilize their own kind, and then they realize that, oh, you're not backing down, you're talking about the black struggle. They detach themselves, they become an island, because as long as they are getting supplied, as long as they are getting their supplies, I'm okay. Me and my wife, me and my, just even talking about immigration palaver alone within the black community. You see that our black folks, I've said it before, it's only in the black community that we weaponize having papers, and you piss on your brother and sister just because you think you're better than them. Oh, I'm a British citizen. You haven't got any papers. You be the one to even call immigration and get them removed. A bunch of black people don't have, I'm sorry, no disrespect, they don't have the soul of a warrior in them. And the oppressors know this. They've gone to the drawing board. They've analyzed a lot of us and our behavioral patterns. Because as soon as they reel you in, and they can help you say, okay, you have a glittering career, we move you up in the social climb, we give you this and this, sell your soul, in exchange for your integrity. They turn you to a gatekeeper in your own community. They make sure they give you the axe, make sure you smash every move. It's the same thing that mirrors back home with these leaders that are destabilizing the systems on a daily basis because they are puppets who are on the payroll of their Western slave masters. So it's the mindset is the number one tool, probably the most powerful tool that we've got, and they know it. And in addition to being sellouts, they've added religiosity. I'm sure it's the same thing in Kenya with religion.
Oh yes. Oh my God.
The average Nigerian, I'm sorry, I love my people, but the average Nigerian is a religious nut job. They are utterly destabilized. We are the same people that under one breath we talk about, oh, racism, blah, 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 blah. But you will fight to the death of you, right? To defend laboriously the religion of the invaders, the same people that killed, maimed, sexually violated your ancestors. Black people will find every justification in the universe. They don't care if you are their sibling. They will call you crazy because you refuse to adopt the ways of the invaders. Imagine how they look at us, that we are crazy. And back home, like that brother said earlier, my God, if it was based on the level of religiosity in Nigeria, Nigeria should be the most powerful country in the world, because every side street you turn into in most residential areas, every building, every apartment, there is a church, there is a Sunday school, there is a mosque, there's speaker blaring. Any little thing, if a mosquito lands on your thigh right now, it's just a bloody mosquito, right? They will call it spiritual attack. If a black cat was to be approaching, you and I were sat down now, and a black cat happens to just appear. It's just a cat. It's a pet. It's an animal. They will instantaneously say it's a demonic attack. And a lovely bird is seen as demonic.
I mean,
man, sorry, go on, man.
So I agree with you. I mean, let's talk about the history of religion quickly in the West. The history of religion in the West was oppressive. It was about the ruling class controlling the poor so it would never rise up against them, and religion's goal was to do that. That's why the king was anointed by God. Nobody was above him. And in return, the king would say, I'll support the church. It was all about oppressing the poor and teaching them God ordained for them to stay in their position and never to want better. Then the Enlightenment comes along and says, no, that's not true. Then science comes along and debunks everything religion has taught. So now questions start being asked. If science is telling me that the earth is not flat but round, was the Bible right? So people start breaking with religion. And of course, once that starts happening, the church says we need new converts. So where did they go for those converts? Africa. They were losing people in their own land. So they went abroad. That was the whole point of the conquest. New souls to save. Where were those souls going to be? So they come to Africa, they tell you to pray, close your eyes, they give you the Bible, they take the land. And the Africans believe that the white man's God is stronger because they won. So they fall and they believe. They even change their names to be Christian so that they can be saved, as if they weren't people before that religion showed up. And it's because they believe the white man's God is more powerful. That's why they worship. They believe the white man's God is more powerful. That was the message from the Europeans. Our God is more powerful. That's why we beat you. And the Africans just accepted it. How is it that India and China never accepted Christianity and look at where they are at now? Japan slaughtered Christians, refused to allow them to come and evangelize. Japan is where now? These nations rejected Christianity and they're at the top of the game, yet Africans who accepted are at the bottom. How does that work? If God hears your prayers, why weren't India and China and Japan punished? How come Europe, who became atheist, is at the top? But nobody wants to ask these questions. That would require critical thinking. That would require being uncomfortable. People don't want to be uncomfortable. People want to be miserable rather than uncomfortable. So of course they'll keep praying. Prayer gives you hope. Hope one day it'll get better. Hope things will change so you don't have to do anything. So you can sit there and accept that your life is miserable. It's a lie. But of course, you can't say that back home because people will say you're a demon, you're a devil, rather than think. Thinking is not encouraged by our governments. You know, the schools don't teach critical thinking. That's where they beat you. You're just supposed to memorize. Then when you go abroad, you encounter a different world where people think and you're stuck because you weren't taught to think. You were just taught to memorize and spit things back out. And now you can't even compete. So now what will you do? You don't understand the world. Do our leaders even understand technology the way it's changing right now? Do they understand? They didn't even anticipate social media leading to these protests because they didn't understand how it works, because they've refused to learn and they refuse to educate their people. So they're falling behind. So they themselves will become part of the permanent underclass anyway. So you only have power temporarily. You only keep your money till you die. Then what? You're not taking it with you. You keep it in bank accounts that your wives can't access after you're gone because the European governments lock the money up. So now what? Your children don't get the money either. Did it work? These people have no sense of nationalism. They don't feel they owe their people anything. People talk about Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism started in the Western world with African Americans. The revolutionaries were murdered by their own people. Let's face it, the Americans could not have murdered the revolutionaries without the complicity of their own people. How did they get access to them? Who pointed them out? Let's not pretend. Greed, money, this is what Africans value. Those are their legacies. Even here in the States, when I look at what Africans have built in America, I say to myself, what have you left behind? You have your house, you have your car, but then what? You don't even save for your children. No wonder home is a mess. You just took what you learned there and replicated here, even when you had the resources available. I do agree with people who say it's not just the government, it's not just the West, it's the people. What are your values? What do you want to give your children? If you have accepted this is your life, then that's all you give your children. And let's really be honest, the world has changed too much. The fact that China is in Africa right now taking over, are you telling me 200 years from now we're going to say, oh, we didn't know, oh, the Chinese were smarter, oh, the Chinese, you mean to tell me we didn't know? We didn't know? The Chinese studied the Americans. The Chinese government will tell you. China in the 60s and 70s was one of the poorest countries in the world. They had a 20-year famine. Famine.
Yes,
They
you're right.
ate people.
Absolutely.
They were poor until the 80s. How has China become what it is today? You know what their leaders said? Their leaders said, we will never allow ourselves to be disgraced like that again, ever. We will study America, we will see what they have done, and we will do the same. And that's exactly what the Chinese government has done. They have studied America quietly, and they have done the same. They said they will never allow themselves to be shamed like that ever again. So it's all about, what do people want? Our leaders don't care about being shamed. They're happy to go sit in the white man's land as long as they get a piece of bread from his table and the rest of us can starve. They don't want to build their own table. It's just the truth. If the people want change, people have to be prepared to fight and die for it and pay a price. Otherwise, we'll all just keep having the same conversation. And to the ones who are in America and England saying, well, you know, I have what I need. Why should I fight? Whatever you have is temporary and it was given to you and can be taken away. It's not yours. It's not yours. You're in another man's land. Whatever he gave you, he can take it. Let's face it, in the States, if you become a citizen, they can take your citizenship away. That's not even guaranteed. So,
Goddamn right.
you know, they tell you when you become a citizen, we can take it away from you. Unless you were born in this nation, whatever we gave, we'll take. So, toe the line. And these are the facts. Anyway, I just
Let me ask you one quick question before you go.
Sure.
That's powerful. Thank you so much for that. That's really, really powerful. And I'm sure people enjoy your contribution. So, what do you think about Black folks that, particularly us in the diaspora, right, that live in the West? And like I said earlier, don't know if you were listening then, that because this is one of the things that drives me up the freaking wall, man. Because Black folks that taste a bit of comfortability and they lose their mind, they turn out to be very selfish. They detach themselves from their community. In fact, they operate in denial. They become snobs because they think, now I've arrived. What do you think about those type of Black folks?
So here in the States, we have something we call the model minority. Those people want to be the model minority. They think proximity to whiteness is the best thing that could ever happen to them, and they like it. But in order to have that proximity, they're willing to make sure nobody else gets to be close. They want to be the pet. They want to be the one that stands out. They want to be the one that walks in and says, I was the only Black person there, so I must be special. They still believe white people are better than them. So being next to them must mean they're just as good, which is ridiculous. Why would you want that? Why would you want to be a model? You need to understand, like, playing by the rules, trying to make them like you. These people know you're not one of them. The fact that they know that they let you in means they can kick you out. They don't respect you. What do you have that belongs to you? Let's be honest. White people respect people who have their own. If you have to beg, especially in America where they believe in pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, they hate people who beg. They hate people who beg. If you're begging, they don't respect you. They only respect those who have their own resources, build their own table, and guard them. Those are the people they view as their equals. To believe these people see you as their equal, you're delusional and you don't understand the way things work over here. I'll give a good example. I know somebody who came to the States. She came from a very well-to-do family back home. She went to very good schools. They believe, like, as long as you went to a good school, you're going to be fine. When she came to America, I knew the truth. It's not like that. So she went and she studied. She went to Harvard University, and her parents paid for her to go. And so she thought she was better than everybody else because she went to Harvard. In fact, she wouldn't even speak to you because you weren't of that class. So she was at Harvard hanging out with these people. But when it came time to get a job, did she get the same job as those people at Harvard? No, she did not get that job. She became very frustrated that she wasn't getting access to the same things those people were getting. In fact, she felt she was getting less than, and she was angry. Now, me, myself, I understood why she got less than. First of all, she was a foreigner. She wasn't one of them. She wasn't one of them, and they knew it. She had an accent. She wasn't born here. This wasn't her country. 2, legacy. Harvard admits legacies. These are children of rich people who've been here for a long time. They only went to Harvard to get a degree. They already had jobs secured. They were just going to walk into them. You came here thinking as long as you worked hard, you were going to make it. You didn't understand. The rules have already been written. These people already had
Exactly.
jobs secured. They knew where they were going to go. Their families are important people who know important people who know important people. But you thought as long as you worked hard, you were going to be at the same level as them. Unrealistic. So they moved on to their Fortune 500 companies, and she was left behind to go home and start over, broken and upset. But had she understood the rules, she would have known you were never on equal playing ground. Did you go on vacation with them? Yes. Did you go to their parties? Yes. Were you one of them? No. And they showed you by not helping you get a job at their own companies with their connections. You were never one of them. They gatekeep very, very well. So if you're a Black person in America or England who thinks just because you're hanging around with the wealthy white people, you're one of them, please look around. If you're the only one there, they're gatekeeping. Only one is allowed in and they can kick you out. And let me tell you, you're not part of the private conversations they're having. Are you getting wealthy? Are you part of their investments? Are you investing in their companies? Are they investing in yours? Are they helping you build generational wealth like they're helping their own people of their own class, of the same background as them? No, then you're not one of them. You're just something there to entertain them, and that's it. And that's my answer
Man,
to that.
thank you. Woo!